Explaining football to the friend who's just there for the nachos? Hard. Tailgating from home like a pro with snacks and drinks everyone will love? An easy win. And with Instacart helping deliver the snack time MVPs to your door, you're ready for the game in as fast as 30 minutes. So you never miss a play or lose your seat on the couch or have to go head-to-head for the last chicken wing. Shop Game Day Faves on Instacart and enjoy $0 delivery fees on your first 3 grocery orders. Offer valid for a limited time. Other fees and terms apply.
Welcome back to another episode of Tigs Bits. We have a great show lined up for you today, but first, we wanted to mention something that's very important to us. Our friend, our Tigs Wigs, and a huge part of the Bubba Army has lost everything in Hurricane Helene, and we're trying to do what we can to help them out. We have information that you can go to our socials, find out how to send those donations and to support him during this tough time, him and Miss April. Huge Bubba Army people. Man, we do a show on Thursday nights, Thursday Night Live with Tigs Bits, every Thursday night at 7 o'clock, generally at 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. So we get into all kinds of stuff. There are a lot of you guys that are listening to this right now that are in those chats. We talk to a ton of y'all. Bubba Army support is massive. We appreciate y'all. We love you, and we thank you so much. But we were doing this past Thursday night show. Captain Creamsicle was in the chat. He bowed out, sent me a picture. It was rough for sure. We were on there while Lummy was out doing the hurricane report as well, and man, it was nasty. But I had no idea. He said he went to bed. He was going to bed and jumped out of the deal. And he told me the next day, whenever I heard from him, he said, "Brother," the next thing he knew, he was swimming and that they had lost everything. So just absolutely horrendous, terrible. And I know that story has happened a lot in Florida, a lot in North Carolina, Tennessee, all along there. That path of that storm, that was a monster. Praying for all you people out there too, and y'all stay strong. We have dealt with that in Louisiana and build back better. But man, it is a tough deal. So we have that out there. If you guys if you feel compelled and you wanted to help them out, then go to our socials and check that out. But in this week's episode, we're diving into the top 10 comedians of all time and the top 10 radio hosts. But before we get to that, just wanted to say, we know it's kind of been a little bit tricky getting all three of us in the same room lately. JR is out there in full swing as the tour manager for Justin Moore, keeping busy with a packed fall schedule. They've been having fun. Blasey's been on the road himself. I've absolutely had my hands full, but we're going to get back into the groove this month, and we've managed to record a few shows whenever we could, put a couple in the can, so to speak, while we're all out and about. This is one of them. And it was fun. We love doing lists, and this was just another good one. So JR and I had a lot of fun doing this one. Don't forget, y'all, come and check us out on Thursday Night Live. Sometimes we can get all three of us in there. It's been tricky lately, but y'all check it out. And don't forget, these episodes are also airing on Right Now TV, reaching audiences all across the United States every Wednesday night at 8:30 Eastern. You can just watch it. Go to the app, go to Right Now TV. You can check it out there. So sit back, relax. Let's get into it. Welcome to another episode of Tigs Bits, baby. And if you can't tell by these fresh lids that both JR, the handler, and myself are wearing, we got our hats. We got our merch.
And let me tell you, this Blasey didn't lie when and missing him this week. Look forward to seeing him again soon. Hate he couldn't be with us tonight. But when he said, and you guys were talking about the other week about this brand and style of hat, when you put it on, it's minimal adjustments. I literally had to move it one snap over, and I put it on, and it's fine. It's
Isn't
a
that
great
wonderful?
hat.
I did the same thing. It took me, I think I had to move it 2 snaps
Yeah.
2 snaps and a shake of a stick, and here we are.
Here we are.
I don't know what that means, but it felt right. But they are so good. You can go get them at tigsbits.com. Go check them out, tigsbits.com. Support the show. Go buy you a hat, get you a koozie, get you a mug, all kinds of gear over there at tigsbits.com.
And when you're wearing the hat especially, or the shirt like we've talked about, because you guys have mentioned this, when you're wearing it out, it's a head turner sometimes because everybody's like, what does that say? And then
say the least.
And it could say one thing, could say, hey, oh yeah, let's engage, talk to me, let's communicate, or it could say that guy's crazy, don't talk to him. So it's for everybody. It is
for everybody. And I've said in a little advertisement on our socials, if you want to become a mind reader, get you one of these hats. Get you a Tigs Bits hat. You want to know what's really on people's minds? They're either dyslexic or they're thinking about something else.
Yeah.
Tigs Bits. Yeah, we're here for you.
This particular hat will increase your IQ by 5 to 7 points. It's a guarantee. That's 100%. I didn't say that. That's just math. I didn't make that up. That's just math. So
8 out of 9 doctors agree. So there you have it. There is your prescription. Go get it. JR, I thought we'll let you know one thing that we have started to really grow and love, but so has everyone else that is with us on these shows and our fans and those guys out there supporting us. So just shout out to the Tigs Wigs out there. Number one, appreciate y'all. Shout out to the Bubba Army as well. Appreciate all of y'all, but we love doing a good list.
Yes.
That seems to be lately. Let's just pull up a list, have a little conversation about it, and then see what in the heck can happen from that. And tonight's no different. When we're recording this, no different. I thought, let's look at some stuff that we could think about here. And you threw out top 10 radio jocks of all time. And I went, I like where he's stepping in this. But I always think that kind of to make the show go better and to flow along, I think we need 20, not just 10. So to make it, cram it all into one big show. Why don't we do a top 10 radio disc jockey all-time greats and and this is going to be tough to get into this time frame, top 10 all-time comedians.
Oh.
And we're going to go briefly.
Wow.
So I think it's going to,
I like the rapid fire. Just give the answer, give the opinion. No need to linger too far. Boom, boom, boom. It's no need to convince each other or the audience how they should feel. They just get to instantly either agree with us, make their counterpoint amongst themselves, their friends, or to themselves. Then we move on to the next one because we can get more in that way. And you can always go back and stew on it later because I know I've been thinking about that country. I've had people reach out to me in text and social media and stuff talking. And thanks to everybody who listens to the show regularly, fans and radio listeners, podcast listeners. We couldn't do it without you, everybody who supports us. And to our family and friends, I know all you guys and gals support us and we appreciate it. And I know it's a lot of people out there. I don't get to say it too personally, but y'all know who you are and know that we all appreciate you for following us on this journey. But when those side people text you their opinion on the list, it resparks. So it does not really over if we're over for this segment of the show on it. Just wanted to
that's right. That's right. I mean, it's all subjective. There is no right and wrong, but it does spark conversation. And that's what we were hoping this kind of stuff would do. It is working. A lot of people are engaging with us on social media at Tigs Bits Podcast. You can follow us over there. Tigsbits.com is your hub for all of those things. Let's jump on into this, top 10 radio jocks of all time. And we're going to start at number 10, of course.
Radio jocks, DJs on radio, in American radio. Here we go. Coming in at number 10, Tom Joyner, known as the Fly Jock. He built a massive following with his syndicated morning show, blending humor, music, and social commentary. Tom Joyner in the morning show. Absolutely. You travel as much as I do. You've heard that in the mornings. Oh, yeah. Tom Joyner in the morning show. And I think they're based out of, does it say where these shows are based out of? I think is that Atlanta? Where's Tom Joyner?
You know what?
Or New York?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with the Tom Joyner show.
Oh, man. Huge radio show. Yeah. Yeah. It's just going to be interesting on this list because this is something I'm less knowledgeable about, which I think is fun for everyone because it's going to give us something new to educate ourselves on and learn some hip things,
That's right. No, I mean, and trust me, looking at the list,
and
we know most of these people.
Yeah, right. But but there's going to be ones, and like actually John Costeca has texted me the other day saying he liked the way we did it because it is all subjective. It's everybody's opinion on this stuff. But I'm wondering, will rural markets get left out? Will it just be the biggest players in the game? That kind of stuff, because there are some legendary smaller market type people. I'm sure that if you live in a region, you're going to be like, no, so and so's in my top 10 of all time.
Right.
So I'll be interested to see how that goes. But, yes, I'm definitely aware of Tom Joyner in the morning show. That's a big show, been around for a long time. I'll be interested to see the rest of the list, and I'll probably have a better gauge on how to rank and move the numbers up and down
when we get to the
once
end.
I hear through another list. Because I know a handful off the top of my head, but I purposely didn't do any crash research once we decided we were going to do this.
I didn't either. I just got the list. I looked at it. It was like, okay, I know some of these guys, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about it since then. We're just going
and
to go with it live.
And if we get some traction from the audience and wanted to talk about it on the live sometime, we can always come back to another show with Blasey, get into more depth, have our notes with us. But this will be fun. All right, rock on. Who you got at number 9?
Right. He is from Dallas, by the way.
Dallas. Okay, I knew it was. I thought it was a big market. Okay.
Yep. Coming in at number 9, Alan Freed, often credited with coining the term rock and roll. Freed was one of the most influential radio jocks promoting rock music back in the 1960s. Definitely have heard of him, know the name.
Oh, yeah.
Never heard, not that I'm aware of, ever really heard any of the programming, but
absolutely
probably did. But I know who he is.
Oh, yeah. Well, his contribution to breaking all those bands back then and stuff was huge. And yeah, that's a big player in the game. I don't think I could have much argument with him. Again, we'll have to see how this list unfolds. But that's another one. I believe he was based out of Cleveland or Detroit, maybe. Oh, this is going to be fun because this is something I really don't. I'm a know-it-all, and I think I know every fun fact, but I don't. This is proof, guys and gals. I don't know every little fun little fact about entertainment like I fancy myself as sometimes. Now, country music, I hold
American disc
classic
jockey.
rock too, and I should know this better than I do. But because I've read about him, and he's come up in half of the rock autobiographies and biographies and stuff I've read over the years, and I mean they've in movies, and TV they've referenced him.
Yeah, I mean it looks like he was in Pennsylvania. Just briefly kind of looking over.
It could have been Philadelphia or somewhere like that.
Yeah,
okay.
Newcastle, Pennsylvania, Youngstown, Ohio.
Big rock and roll DJ. Yep.
Definitely going all
huge rock and roll DJ.
Yeah, he sent WAKR in Akron in 1945. He signed them. So I mean, he worked in several places. Cleveland.
I think Cleveland was where he coined the term.
Yeah,
I believe
that's going to be where
went down.
That's going to be where it's at. And I know somebody's out there listening right now. They're like, "Good Lord, you didn't know." No, that's part of this exercise.
Yep.
But I bet there's some good documentaries on Alan Freed.
Oh, absolutely. There's books. I know there's good books because I've read about him. May have even read one, and I'm feeling really dumb if so. But I'm 3 weeks off the booze, and my mind's just now getting uncloggy. So maybe some of these memories will come back.
That's right. You're helping yourself. That's for sure.
Trying to. You'd think I'd get smarter. It hasn't happened yet, but we'll see. Hang on, everybody. We'll see.
I believe in you, brother. I believe in you. Coming in at number 8, the legend himself. And I'm going to just say right now, I would probably put this guy up higher, just sight unseen for my own personal self. Paul Harvey. Good day.
Huge.
I mean, the rest of the story. I mean, he's the best, a master storyteller. He would give you news. He would give you history, human interest stuff. I mean, there was everything.
It's missed now. We need a Paul Harvey.
We need a Paul Harvey badly.
Common sense. Break it down. Tell you a great little story, and that is the rest of the story. Just just so many good things came from that, and a golden voice, and golly, how many years did he do it? I mean, had to have done it for 45, 50 years.
I mean, he had been doing it
radio.
a very long time. When I was a kid, and my dad, we would go on coming down to Baton Rouge, going to LSU games, just on riding anywhere. I mean, Dad was going to listen to that show.
It was on all the time, yeah.
And I loved it too, though. It was interesting.
Yep.
I always found it extremely interesting.
Yep.
I mean, he's in my mind is the GOAT. I mean,
I was going to say he's top 3 probably for a lot of people. I don't know.
Yeah.
And see, I don't know his range. Did everybody up north listen to that too? I know Southern folks. I know Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, Arkansas. We all listen to Paul Harvey. Tennessee. I'm sure it was because I'm wondering how big the reach is going to be for some of those. From different markets are going to matter a little bit, and what the demographic they're aiming towards is. But yeah, great. Just legendary voice. Yeah. I almost would say it was our version of like a Prairie Home Companion in a weird way. Like it was our little piece of that. It was a version of that. And I know, in our normal Tigs Bits, conversations, we go into some kind of out there topics. And when you go back and listen to Paul Harvey's, some of his monologues and things he said during his career that they've brought back now and put in the front and think about it in current context, it's like, whoa. He may have been alien too. Who knows? But he was ahead of his time, if nothing else.
Yeah, for sure.
And definitely a top. I mean, golly, yeah. I'll be interested to see how this list goes because him at number 7?
That is number 7.
8.
That was number
7.
8. That was number 8.
That's number 8.
Yeah.
Him at 8's going to be tough for me.
Yeah, me too. We're going to continue on this countdown. We're going to do the top 10 comedians of all time. And man, I tell you what, it gets hard with these top 10 lists. I've glanced at this one though, JR. You don't know them, but I don't disagree with any of the 10 that are on there. Not a single one. I don't know if maybe someone's left off. Hadn't got that far into it, but let's just
I'll be the judge of that.
Yep, we're going to let you be the judge of it. It starts off strong. I'll say this. All 10 names that are in it, strong names.
Oh, has to
worthy.
be. 10, this is going to be uber subjective, depending on what kind of comedy you like. And 10 out of the, I mean, DJs also, but comedians that people know about because of television and radio, I mean, and movies, this is going to be a tough one. And depending on how old you are, too.
That's
if you're an old soul or you like new school. But anyway, let's roll. This is going to be a lot of fun.
This is going to be fun. And I want to ask you real quick before we start, though, do you ever watch the show Kill Tony podcast?
I'm aware of it.
It's on YouTube as well. It's with Tony Hinchcliffe. And, dude, it's so good. It's raw. I mean, it is raw. They say things that you would think that you can't get away with saying anymore, but some of that's starting to come back.
Right.
And I like that. I mean, the world just got entirely too sensitive for about the last decade or so, and it's time to loosen it up a little bit. You can push the boundaries, but you're just picking on people, man. And if I pick on somebody, it's because I like them. If I'm picking on you, I like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's time some of that comes back. Anyhow, speaking of people, all of these folks can very, very successfully pick on people. And we'll start with one of the masters at it, a guy with a lot of attitude and a little bit of grouchiness. Coming in at number 10, Bill Burr.
Oh,
Bill Burr.
I would almost say newer, but Bill Burr's been around for a while. Bill Burr is crushing it right now, no doubt. He is on top of his game. Movies, the internet, podcasting type stuff, and then his stand-up. I mean, those guys are doing stadiums and stuff now. They're doing basketball arenas and big places, amphitheaters and stuff.
Yes, and I haven't gone to one of those yet. I need to. I can go ahead and tell you not on the list and didn't think he would be in top 10 of all time, but Theo Von is just bringing it and just destroying everywhere, man. It's unbelievable. A Louisiana guy. One of my friends, Dr. Richard Hines, they all went to high school, or they all went to high school and elementary, middle school and stuff together. And Richard has told me some of these jokes before Theo's ever told them, like some of these stories and that were just completely the most wackadoodle things that you've ever heard. They were true. I'd heard them before, and now I've heard them again from Theo. Yeah, true story.
That's good stuff. Yeah, I've been following Theo for a long time. He had a great podcast, still does. I don't listen to it anymore, but he had a great podcast on the way up. Big fan of Theo's. Yeah, his stuff's gold, man. He has been dying.
It is. Moving along, though, coming in at number 9, a legend, a trailblazer for female comedians, maybe the trailblazer for female comedians with her sharp tongue, her boldness, and her quick wit, Miss Joan Rivers.
Pioneer, legend. I mean, longevity, transformations over the years.
Physically and everything else.
Everything. I mean, she created her whole thing. She created that whole interview, going to the red carpet thing, took it to the level it did, and then a sign of a true great. You pass it on down. Her daughter's a rock star and all that stuff too. Been killing it for a long time. So
yes.
Joan Rivers. I mean, and I go back to Burr. That's going to be tough for me because I know top 10's tough. I'm a big fan of Bill Burr, but that's going to be tough. Joan Rivers, I'd say she definitely deserves a spot in that top 10.
Oh, yeah.
I love a great deal as much as the next guy, but I'm not going to be jumping through a bunch of hoops and crawling through a bed of hot coals just to get a good deal. Save a few bucks on some cellular. Nope, it's got to be way easier than that. No hoops, no BS. So that's why Mint Mobile is the place to be. I'm telling you right now, nobody has made it easier than Mint Mobile to get a wireless plan for $15 a month. With the purchase of a 3-month plan, I'm going to tell you right now, I called them out on it. Turns out it is really that easy to get a wireless plan for $15 a month. The longest part of the process was the time that I spent on hold to break up with my old provider. It's easy to switch to Mint Mobile, easy to use their website, easy purchase and activation. Everything is easy. And to get started, go to mintmobile.com/Bubba. There you'll see it right now. Boom. All 3-month plans are only $15 a month, including the unlimited plan. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk-to-text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can even use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your old number with you, which includes all your contacts and all that stuff you got stored in there. To get this new customer offer and a new 3-month premium wireless plan for only $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/Bubba. That's mintmobile.com/Bubba. Cut your wireless bill down to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Bubba. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabyte on unlimited plan. Additional tax fees and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
With Credit Karma, finding the right credit card for you is easy. Our app analyzes user profiles to suggest personalized recommendations. Visit creditkarma.com today to explore cards tailored to your needs. Credit Karma, simplifying your financial choices.
Yeah, she definitely has to be in the top 10. Hilarious. I remember a lot of times when I was a kid, I would watch A&E in the evening at the Improv, and then they had those comic reliefs or whatever that were on HBO, if you remember those.
Yes, absolutely.
And they were always hilarious. She was always a part of all of those. So, she's a part of my childhood as a comedian, period.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. And I did watch all that. I was the kid also searching for that type of stuff.
Yes.
I love that type of stuff. If I could sneak around and find some HBO or some, I had the Eddie Murphy Raw VCHS tape mislabeled so I could hide it in my room so I could watch Raw when I wanted to with my friends on the VCR when my parents were asleep, for real. So I get it. And yes, she was on all that stuff, and you think about when she started to end of her career, the things she had to go through, not only on and off, not on the stage, but off the stage, and to just pile drive through it and be hilarious and just keep rocking and rise to the top.
Huge, man. Love Joan Rivers. Coming in at number 8, this guy's known for his brutally honest and often self-deprecating humor. Gotten a little bit of trouble over the last few years, like a lot of folks. Louis C.K.
Ooh,
I love Louis C.K. Number 1, I think he is hilarious. I'm glad that at this point in time he's kind of making a comeback. They're bringing him back because he's one funny dude. Is he top 10 material? Was he top 10 material prior to the incident, which we won't go into? You can look it up. Was he top 10 prior to that? Because he certainly hasn't been since then.
man, for me, and this is where it's going to be real subjective. I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and be honest. We got 7 more spots on here, and there ain't but, a couple out of my top 10 of all time even alive anymore. So
yeah,
I would say for me, great. I mean, I could get it at some point, but as of now, not a top 10 all time, in my opinion, even though he's huge and I get it. But you're talking about, I mean, we get down to this list. I believe my snubs list is going to be a little longer than I was expecting.
You're right. I know.
This is starting off a little different than I was thinking here.
I know. I mean, it's fun.
So this is going to be fun when we keep counting this list down.
Yep.
I'm going to think about this, but this is going to be interesting.
Now we are jumping back into the list of top 10 radio disc jockeys of all time. We're going to go 7 through 4 in this little segment. So we're going to come at you kind of fast.
Pull out a fresh piece of vinyl, rub on this piece of vinyl to get some knowledge and wisdom. This is it's a great record by the Drive-By Truckers here. Brighter Than Creation's Dark. Beautiful record.
Beautiful.
This is what I miss about records, man. You can open them up. It's got the artwork. How cool.
I can smell it from here.
Don't get that much anymore. But
No,
it's coming
I
back.
love
They're actually selling 3 times more vinyl now than they are CDs or cassettes or anything else. So that's a wild stat.
That is wild, but I also believe it because it's a piece of art, just like you said. I mean, my daughter has a turntable. Problem is that there are people our age generally that do actually pull the turntable out and listen to those albums, But my daughter got one of those little things. You Bluetooth speaker into it. It doesn't sound that good. You're better off with your phone and Spotify or Apple or whatever your music choice is. But anyhow, let's move on with this list. Coming in at number 7, top 10 disc jockeys of all time, Art Bell. Art Bell, the king of late night radio, coast to coast AM, discussing the paranormal and conspiracy topics a long time before they became mainstream. The pioneer of what we like to talk about, honestly, a lot of times, JR.
Yeah, and I've heard the name. I'm not very familiar, but I've heard the name, and I've seen shorts and little videos and things discuss some of the things that was talked about on his show. That things like that. So I wonder what years that was. I bet he was on for a while.
Let's
and it
look
was
it up.
coast to coast late night show.
I know when I was a kid, we would go camp out in the woods. I grew up in the country. You did too.
Yeah.
So it's just pitch black dark. You could see everything, but also at night, those AM stations they had such a long reach. Like you could hear Atlanta in Florine, Louisiana at time. WWL in New Orleans, you can hear almost all the way to Atlanta. So all of those coverages of AM stations. By the way, they are trying to take AM radio stations away from your cars and everything else like that. So not getting on a soapbox over here, but that would be terrible in the event of a nuclear fallout or something like that. You can't count on digital. You can still count on AM radio. It has the largest reach of any kind of communications that is out there that's not digital. So anyhow, he was
we definitely need to keep that. And like WSM 650 out of Nashville, the Grand Ole Opry and all that, I mean, that's huge. That cannot go away. I mean, that's a staple.
No, it cannot. He retired in 2003. So I mean, he did it from, it looks like he was born in 1945, so I don't know when it started. It probably started
from the
60s
or
70s, yeah.
Interesting. Art Bell holding the number 7 spot. Okay, we'll see how this
Number
lays
7.
out. Hey, again, covering a lot of ground. Now we're in the late night paranoia. We had the daytime. We had the rock guy. We had the morning show. This is interesting. All right, who we got at number 6?
Number 6, the man known for the Rick Dees Weekly Top 40. Freaking Rick Dees himself, man.
I mean, huge.
Yeah.
In
Absolutely.
the biggest era on the way up when that music changed and it was, worldwide, televisions were everywhere. So people could see it too, see and believe it. And he was telling them, all about it. Rick Dees, big personality, no doubt.
Huge personality. So it looks like it was in the 70s, whenever that all got started. And yeah, I'm just looking at his bio here. Rick Dees is not that old, really. I mean, he's really not.
He probably
that
started it was young. It took off. He was in the group. He was in the age group of the artists and the acts that were coming up on the radio at that time.
Yeah,
well,
he's 70. He's 74 years old.
74. Wow, Rick
Yep.
Dees. Yeah. I mean, again, that's going to be hard to leave him off as big as he was in American radio for the big time when radio was at its height of regular radio before we had the internet and digital and all this stuff. All right. Well, we got him at number 6. Who we got at 5?
At number 6. Number 5. I mean, you can't leave this guy off of this list, in my opinion, for sure, no matter what side of the aisle you were on. If you like him or you don't, he was always interesting. The EIB network, Rush Limbaugh. How can Rush has to be on a list of top 10, in my opinion. He has to be.
Yeah.
Whether you like him or not.
Yep.
You can't ignore him. You couldn't ignore him.
Huge for a big period of time when radio was at its height. What he was talking about was people were interested in. Yes, and he along with, I know Howard's going to be on here. I mean, same thing,
For sure. Rush, huge, and they always kind of get a little kick out of the Monday Night Football stint that he had that didn't last very long. I didn't think he was terrible. He just, he had a mouth, and it just doesn't fly in corporate television.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't work. Coming in at number 4, he's recognizable by his gravelly voice and his high energy style. He brought rock and roll to life on the airwaves. Wolfman Jack.
Wolfman Jack. I knew it was Wolfman Jack. Yeah, he's got it. I was just about to say, it better be Wolfman Jack.
Wolfman's got to be on the list for sure. And he is up high, as he should be.
Yep.
But
I mean, if anybody, I don't even want to talk about Wolfman Jack. If you're not aware of who we're talking about, go look him up on YouTube, and you'll be fascinated enough to spend half an hour, and you'll know more than I'm going to explain to you in the next 30 seconds. So
that's right.
Just go look up Wolfman Jack and trust us, he's on the list.
Now we're back to the top 10 comedians of all time. It's been a minute since you were there. You missed this earlier. Missed the countdown earlier. Coming in at number 10 was Bill Burr. Number 9 was Joan Rivers. And number 8 was Louis C.K. Here we are at number 7. I think this guy definitely is in the top 10 of all time. One of the funniest guys ever on television. The king of observational humor. Famously turning everyday situations into hilarious material. None other than Mr. Jerry Seinfeld.
Yep. Can't leave Seinfeld off the list. Probably would not, if personal, it would have to be on the list, though. Even though, I mean, I like a lot of other people's comic, the way they deliver better. He is just great. He stood the test of time. The style he goes for, it's usually clean.
Yep.
And it's situational, like you said. And you talking about an empire, a television show turns it into a sitcom that lasted the longest of any show ever, I believe. Seinfeld's the record holder, isn't it? So
I think it is. I'm not no, I think The Simpsons is actually the record holder as far as a TV show goes at this point. I'm not 100% sure, but maybe for a comedy, probably. And think of the amount of money he turned down. That they wanted them to come back for the 8 whatever season or 20, however many seasons they had. Dude, I've seen every single episode of Seinfeld probably 3 times at least, if not, and some of them a lot more. Huge fan while it was even back then. My mom loved it too. So just always, I love Seinfeld, man. Loved it. Moving along though, coming in at number 6, and now we're getting somewhere. I mean, these have all been great, but we're getting somewhere a little more. I think you're going to agree with this. Known for his biting.
I agree. Seinfeld needs to be on the list, 100%.
Oh yeah,
he is funny. There ain't no doubt he's funny. I mean, I get it. It's funny for sure. It's funny to me. There's times when I'm dying on some of that stuff they're saying. So he's on the list for sure.
For sure, for sure. But this guy's known for his biting, socially relevant humor and his sharp delivery. I think nowadays you would probably know him best as getting slapped in the face by Will Smith, none other than Chris Rock. I love Chris Rock, man.
Chris Rock hilarious.
I think
no doubt.
I mean, he's in my top 10 for sure. I don't know where I place him in the top 10, but he's in the top 10 because he's one of those guys that once he gets going on stage, he just flat out murders. And it's just his pacing and everything. It's just brilliant to watch how unprepared it looks, but it's completely dialed in and prepared. It's meant to look that way. And just the way he can deliver a joke. Huge fan. Huge fan.
I'm a huge fan as well. Like I said, this list of top comedians of all time, though, is going to be tough for me because of only how many spots we got. But, yeah, I love Chris Rock. Always been great in his stuff.
Love him. Love him. And coming in at number 5, and this guy can do it all for sure, is on this list. For sure. He's famous for his high energy he's famous for his improv style. I can't talk tonight.
Improvisation.
There it is. And his ability to switch between characters seamlessly. He did a lot of funny stuff in the 70s, the 80s. We talked about comic relief. He was a huge part of that as well. None other than Mrs. Doubtfire, man. Robin Williams.
Ooh.
You hadn't thought about him, had you?
Nope.
I know you hadn't. It's like, I didn't either. That was the one name that it's like, but he was a wild stand-up comedian.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And his television shows and movies. Oh, I mean, are you kidding me? Yeah. Robin Williams definitely belongs on this list. I would have to agree with that.
For sure. And I think he's properly placed as well. Just kind of.
I think he's a comedians too. I don't think anyone would have an issue with that amongst his peers.
I hear a lot I listen to one of my favorite podcasts is Fly on the Wall with Dana Carvey.
Yeah.
I've mentioned this several times, but they talk about Robin Williams. He just kind of seems to slip into a lot of their conversations. Of course, SNL and stuff like that makes sense, but just as much as he was crazy and all of that, at the same time, he was just quiet, very shy and reserved. Just Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in a sense with him.
Right.
But moving along, number 4, and this one I definitely don't disagree with whatsoever. To me, and I've looked at I know what's coming. To me, he's my number 1. He's my number 1. Dave Chappelle. I mean, gotta have Dave up there. And I could see where he may not be on some folks' list. I think that goes back to your age and all of that. Younger folks, maybe he's not on that list,
And your culture, too, because you think about the movies and TV shows and things he's done. I first probably learned about him on Half Baked, which was a staple in the college community when I was in college. And then after that, the Chappelle Show, the rise of the Chappelle Show it was only a few seasons, but one of the funniest sketch comedies of all time.
Yes.
Key and Peele is basically just took that show and made a different form of it. And a lot of people have, but I think he mastered it for that moment in time and got out. Not sure what happened. There's some more conspiracy theories there if we want to dig into those on live.
Yeah,
maybe.
there are a lot of them.
But Dave Chappelle may be the one guy I would say relatively close to my age that I would put on this list. So I'm all about Chappelle. He's one of the newer guys that really, and a lot of them are funny in their own ways, but as far as changing the games and really being the man, Chappelle is the man right now.
He's the man. He is the man for sure. Finishing out our top 10 radio jocks of all time and top 10 comedians. And look, we're pressing with time here, so we're going to get right back into it. We're going to go with the radio jocks first. We'll reveal those. Coming in at number 3, Don Imus. the pioneer of shock jock radio. I listened to some Imus. He was always so angry. It's like he was just pissed off all the time.
That was not, I wasn't listening to that type of stuff when he was huge and stuff, so it was not really in my wheelhouse, but aware of who he is, personal, and I mean, that's strong. That's strong. You're talking about he's the number 3 all time? Okay, let's move on down this list because this, like I said, there's going to have to be some rearranging on here because I would say bigger than Imus and I would think,
Well, we got 2 left, and coming in at number 2, there's no doubt this man is on this list for sure. The American Top 40, where he has the smooth delivery in his storytelling. Casey Kasem, man. I don't have a Casey Kasem. I used to.
This is Casey Kasem. Yeah. I mean, it was huge forever. I mean, yeah, he's on there. He has probably been, his voice has probably been heard more than anybody on this list.
I would say, yes,
if you had to do a tally marks of how many times someone heard his voice and listened to it to see what he had to say about this act coming in today is a band from so-and-so and their favorite jam is grape, and they, whatever, his little tidbits in between stuff. I bet he's been listened to more than anybody on this list. So I would say he's got to be on this list. 2 strong. We'll see who's number 1.
2 is strong. Number 1, he has been mentioned, the king of all media, Howard Stern.
Yeah, I was going to say if we left Stern off, that's going to be crazy.
This
list is a sham instantly. We know that because Bubba the Love Sponge isn't on here. So Bubba's not on here. We know this is just
there's
wrong.
2 people left off of this list, immediate notables. Bubba the Love Sponge obviously comes in very high, maybe even number 2, right behind Howard. The only reason you got to give the nod to Howard there, he kind of brought Bubba on to, his network, so that you got to give the nod to Howard. Bubba 2, number 3 has to be Joe Rogan. I mean,
but see, that's radio DJs.
But it's radio jocks, and it gets blurry at this point.
It's not just media and podcast. That would be a fun list we'll have to do soon. So stay tuned, everybody, for that. Is podcasters top 10? Whoever, not our personal opinions, but what the masses say as far as that.
That's right.
And I'll say, snub for me is definitely Bubba because we love him, and he's so just cuddly and adorable. But per usual on a lot of these lists, when it comes to Rolling Stone or any of the major publications or who would be knowledge holders of this type things, they leave a lot of country out. I don't have any of my big country DJs or trucker DJs or, there was, I can't remember his name. There was a guy back in the day that the truckers all listened to that, was coast, like you're saying, every trucker in America in the 70s and 80s listened to this guy for hours and hours, all night, overnight, and then the big Nashville DJs over the years and country big stuff. So I get it, but I think there's some in certain regions that would probably be left out. And 2, I know some of these are coast to coast, but you got to think there's got to be a DJ in LA that was there when LA music was just at its peak, that was the man or woman there. And we don't have any MTV VJock type generation stuff on there really.
No Ed
I guess
Loader.
Rick D's kind of covered over some of that ground, but this is just radio DJs, and it covers a lot, not just spinning music, not just comedy type morning. It covers a lot of ground. So I like this list. I'll be interested to see the comments that come in. To maybe we'll have to readjust it once we get some more.
Exactly. So moving along, we'll wrap this up here. The top 3 comedians of all time. I think you know who they are, JR. I'm going to say them quickly because we don't have to go through these slowly. You know who they are. Coming in at number 3, Eddie freaking Murphy. No doubt about it. Coming in 100. At number 2, George Carlin. No doubt about it. And coming in at number 1, Richard Pryor. I don't disagree with those 3 at all.
I don't disagree with them being there for sure. I might would rearrange some. For me, Eddie Murphy's probably number 1.
Yep.
But left off the list, Jackie Gleason. I mean, we're a lot younger, but Jackie Gleason being snubbed off this list instantly for me is some. And that's one that would be argued would be Jim Carrey, I would have to say, as far
Correct.
as
Yes.
a longevity of doing what he's done and just how much he's touched with what Jim Carrey's done. Bernie Mac, if you're going to have era guys from that era, the Kings of Comedy era and stuff, Bernie Mac to me was as good as any stand-up or movie or television show as anyone on the list.
Kevin Hart. I mean,
as far as
he
modern
could make
stuff,
you could make a case for Kevin Hart.
Yeah, and
He's
then
in everything.
Yeah, and then you go to niche stuff because again, country gets left off. You don't have Jeff Foxworthy.
Foxworthy.
Which Foxworthy might of that group. I think he over Larry the Cable Guy or Ron White or Ingval or any of those guys. Jeff Foxworthy depends on where you live. I mean, he's especially in a time frame in a certain era. I mean, he would have to have been on there as far as what they did with the redneck stuff.
Yep. But
so I think that's another one we're going to get a lot of people chiming in names that we left off because, like I said, those are just the first ones that came to my head, and I know there's a ton more.
I know. That's the thing with list. We will come back, y'all. You guys out there, shoot us some stuff. Let us know on social media. Give us your top picks. I'm sure that we left somebody off, somebody that you strongly agree with that should be on the list or disagree with that they were not on the list. Let us know. We want to hear your feedback. Until then, we'll keep making up some lists and y'all keep checking us out.
Yes. A lot of fun. Thank y'all for tuning in as always. Check us out at Tigs Bits everywhere you can find us. We'll see you next time.
Everybody loves Tigs Bits, JR.
That's right.